Hi, and welcome to Lisa Brown, Stamp with Lisa Brown on my Savi Sunday. And today we're going to be talking about the Plush Poinsettia specialty paper. It is a flocked paper that comes in 3 designs. And I'm doing a series of 3 videos. This is my second video. So I will throw a link to my last week's Savi Sunday so that you can refer to that video. I'm showing you 3 different ways to use the Plush Poinsettia specialty paper. Today we are also going to feature a stamp set and die bundle that is available in the Wonder of the Season product suite. But today we're just going to concentrate on the bundle called Wishes and Wonders. And it comes with this really nice sleigh, some great words, and then an entire collection of dies. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to close this and get it out of the way. Here are 2 pieces out of that poinsettia paper, and these are cut down. These are some scraps. This is like a 6x6 piece, and then this is left over from last week's video, so you can see the pretty designs on them. The other design is a leaf and hollyberry design. And what I'm showing you today is how to alter that. So the original is just the white plush, and I'm simply coloring it. So I've taken a soft suede light blends marker, and I'm gonna just color over the stems. Now, because this is a flocked coating on here, you don't want to press too hard. Your blends marker will bleed out. Then I'm going to take my light cherry cobbler marker, and I'm just going to lightly go over those berries, and just want to give it a light touch because your marker will absorb into that plush coating on there, and it kind of bleeds out a little bit. So your image isn't going to be colored in sharp. It's going to kind of take on that look of the fuzz. And I thought as I was doing this, I'm like, that's kind of cool. It's almost like the berries have like a little, you know, when you freeze something and it gets ice crystals on it, and it kind of has that like little fuzzy look to them. It's kind of what I thought when I was coloring in my berries. And then for the leaf, I'm going in with my dark old olive. And it's funny because I started one with the light old olive, and it was too light for me, so I decided I'm gonna take my dark old olive, but it comes out really dark, which is actually the color I was looking for, and it mimics mossy meadow in a way. So I'm just following the outline of that flock. Now my old olive marker is a little bit older than my cherry cobbler one, and so I found I got a little bit less bleeding on it, where that cherry cobbler on the berries really absorbed in the color from my marker. So just test your markers and see what works for you. Again, the easiest way I found with the leaves was kind of do an outline and then go in and fill in when you're doing this, you need to be careful where your hand placement is, because if you're coloring in the middle and these are still wet, you'll get the ink on your hand and it's possible to transfer. Now the blends are an alcohol marker and they do dry a little bit quicker, and that's why I opted for the blends instead of the regular markers, so that it does help prevent a little bit of getting any kind of ink transfer on your hand. Okay, so got that all colored in, and we're going to be using a thick whisper white card base today, and that's just your standard 8.5 by 5.5, and I've already gone ahead and scored it at 4 1/4. So we're going to fold that and our crease. Now I need to cut down my my plush paper here. So I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Trimmer. I want to cut this down. We're going to cut it down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, because I wanted to cover up the majority of the front of my card. So I want it 4 1/8 wide. By 5 3/8. You can even save that little scrap and put it on the inside of your card, or use the other piece as well. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this to the front of our card. Now this is vellum. So what I think I'm going to do, I can use probably some tape runner, but I think it's going to be better if I use some glue dots. So I'm just going to put some glue dots in the corners and on the edges. I'm going to go all the way around my card. These are our mini glue dots, and they are super strong. So, all right, so I have glue dots all the way around my edges, and we're gonna go ahead and lay that down. Okay. Isn't that a fun background? So next I took a piece of cherry cobbler, and the cherry cobbler is an 1.5 inch wide, and it's by that same 4 1/8. And I'm going to take some multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're just going to adhere that down. I'm going to do that right in the center. Okay, so from the Wishes and Wonder bundle, I have pre-stamped and die cut a sled, so we're going to color that. I have pre-stamped these words here, wishing you the happiest season of all. And then I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. So they have 2 small greenery dies and a little bit of a larger one. And so I went ahead and pre-cut some in gold foil and in some mossy meadows. So we'll get to those in 1 second. Let's go ahead and color our sled. I'm going to bring back in my soft suede, and I'm going to just give my rails just a little bit of color. I'm not being too neat about it, just so that you know that there's some color there. Okay, next I'm going to bring in my cherry cobbler blends. I have the light and the dark. I'm going to start with the light, and I'm going to fill in the sled over here. Okay, now we're going to go in with our dark, and I'm going to darken up some of this area up here and blend this out. Okay, and bring our card back in, and our sled's going to go right in the middle, and let's go ahead and adhere that with some blends, but first let's see, or adhere it with dimensionals, not blends. All right, so let's spread out our leaves and see what we want to do here. I'm trying to see if I want them coming back out in the back end, underneath. And now, so as you notice, I did not go all the way down with my glue behind my cherry cobbler, because I was wondering if I wanted to tuck some of these behind the cherry cobbler or if I want to put it behind the sled. And I think I'm actually liking it behind the sled a little bit. So, okay, so I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back here. And I'm going to be generous with my dimensionals because I'm going to use them to hold down all of my sprigs. And let's see if we can get one more in there. Okay. I can always go and add glue if I cover up the majority of the stickiness from the dimensional. Okay. Got one more here. Okay. So I'm thinking that I liked one each of these coming out up here. Spread those out just a little bit. Must have a little bit of glue on my finger because it keeps sticking to it. All right, so kind of like that. So we're gonna stick those down. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. I'm gonna put two over here. I want those coming in a little bit more. All right, stick those on there. Let's see, do we want any other little, I like these gold ones. I feel like we need another gold one up here. And maybe another gold one coming out over back here. Let's see if we can stick that over. Come on. Yeah, okay, I like that. Stick that on there. Okay, so I'm going to save these here for another project. And last, I want to put our words on. So I'm going to decide where I want those. I'm going to flag the end of this. I'm going to cut some of this off, and we're just going to give this a little flag. I love this. I do this little flag banner cut here all the time. And I was kind of wondering if I wanted it up here. I think we'll put it right up here on the top. I'm going to put some liquid glue. And I'm using liquid glue because of that flocking on that vellum paper. I want to make sure that it stays. Bring this down a little bit, make sure I'm getting it nice and straight. Okay, Nice. Okay. And I think for one final touch, we're going to use some gold glimmer enamel dots. Put a couple of these randomly around that piece of cherry cobbler cardstock. Put a little one over here. Okay, so there you have it. Using the poinsettia, the Plush Poinsettia specialty paper, we colored it with our Blends alcohol marker, and we featured the Wishes and Wonder bundle. If you have any questions, you can always contact me on my blog, which is creativecardcloset.com. And please subscribe to my channel. Check me out on Facebook, and I also have a Pinterest page. Have a good day.